Welcome back to Postcard English Stories. I'm so glad you're here today because I've got an incredible story to share with you. It's a story about determination, hard work, and the power of never giving up, no matter where you come from. It's about a young girl born in a small village with very little who dreamed of a better life. This is the story of Lily, a girl who faced countless challenges, yet chose to rise above them. From struggling in a poverty-stricken village to becoming a successful entrepreneur, Lily didn't just change her life. She changed the lives of many others along the way. Her journey wasn't easy. There were moments when she felt like giving up, moments when everything seemed impossible. But through it all, she found strength in her dreams and the courage to keep pushing forward. And now, she's using her success to give back to the very community that once gave her hope. Are you ready to hear how one person's belief in themselves can create a ripple effect of change? Stay with us as we dive into Lily's journey, a journey that proves that no dream is too big and no challenge is too great. Let's begin. Part 1. A humble beginning. Lily was born into a world that many people would consider difficult. She grew up in a small village nestled in the countryside, far from the bustling cities and bright lights of the world's famous metropolises. In fact, her village was so remote that it was often left out of the maps that tourists used. The houses were simple, made of wood and straw, and many families, including Lily's, lived in poverty. Her parents were hardworking but had little education. Her father worked long hours in the fields, tending to crops that barely provided enough to feed the family. Her mother stayed at home, cooking meals, taking care of the household chores, and looking after Lily and her younger brother, Tim. Despite their constant effort, there was never enough. There were nights when the cupboard was nearly empty and the family would sit around the table, trying to make the most of what little they had. Lily knew from a very young age that her family's situation was different from that of the other children in the village. While other kids wore new clothes and had toys to play with, she wore clothes handed down from older siblings, and often they were patched up in places. At times, she felt embarrassed when the other children made fun of her tattered shoes or the worn-out fabric of her dress. But Lily didn't let the teasing affect her for long. She was determined not to let her circumstances define her. One of Lily's earliest memories was of her mother sitting by the fire, telling stories of great people who had overcome hardships and achieved amazing things. She would talk about how people could change their lives if they were determined enough. "You don't need to be born into wealth to be great," her mother would say, her voice full of hope. "It's your heart, your mind, and your will that will decide your future, not your birth." Lily listened to these stories with wide eyes. She wanted to believe that she, too, could become someone special, someone who could break free from the limits of her village and make a real difference in the world. Although Lily's family had little, they had one thing that many other families did not: love. Her parents showed her affection every day, and their care for each other gave Lily the strength she needed to keep going. She realized that even in a life full of struggles, there was always love, and that was what mattered most. It was this love that inspired her to work harder and dream bigger. Education was something Lily's parents valued deeply, even though they didn't have the resources to give her the best schools or materials. However, they made sure that Lily attended school every day, even if it meant walking barefoot through muddy paths and cold winds. School was an escape for Lily. It was a place where she could dream of a better future. Even though the school building was small and the teachers were few, Lily loved learning. She was eager to absorb every bit of knowledge that came her way. Her love for reading grew every day, and when she was given a book, she felt like she had been handed the keys to a whole new world. The other children in her class didn't understand her desire to learn. They laughed at her when she stayed up late at night reading books under the dim light of an old kerosene lamp. They didn't know what it felt like to want more, to want to escape the cycle of poverty that seemed impossible to break. But Lily didn't mind. She knew that education would be the one thing that could change her life. Lily's love for learning grew stronger every day. She would wake up early, long before the sun had risen, and study in the quiet of the morning. Her mind was sharp, and she absorbed everything she could. She wasn't just learning for herself, but for her family as well. Every lesson she learned, every new concept she grasped, was one step closer to achieving her dream of helping her family escape the life of poverty. Despite the challenges, Lily found solace in her teachers. They recognized her determination and offered support. One teacher, in particular, Mrs. Johnson, saw something special in Lily. She noticed how hardworking Lily was, how dedicated she was to her studies, and how she never complained about the hardships she faced. Mrs. Johnson took Lily under her wing, offering guidance and encouragement whenever Lily struggled. "Education is the key, Lily," Mrs. Johnson would say. "It doesn't matter where you come from or what you have. What matters is what you know and what you're willing to learn. Knowledge is power, and no one can take that away from you." These words became a mantra for Lily. They fueled her drive and reminded her that no matter how difficult the road ahead, her education was her ticket to a better life. She had seen her parents work hard all their lives with little to show for it. Lily didn't want that for herself. She wanted to build a life where hard work was rewarded, where education was the foundation of her success. But even with all the support from her teachers and the progress she was making in her studies, Lily still faced obstacles. There were days when she didn't have enough money to buy textbooks. She would borrow books from the library, or sometimes, if she couldn't find what she needed, she would search for resources online. There were times when she would go without lunch because she couldn't afford it. But even on those days, she refused to give up. She knew that these small sacrifices were part of her journey, and they only made her more determined. Over time, Lily began to excel in her studies. She was not only keeping up with her classmates, but often outperforming them. Her teachers were impressed with her ability to grasp complex ideas quickly and her willingness to ask questions when something wasn't clear. She stood out not just for her intelligence, but for her perseverance. Lily's grades soared, and she began to gain the respect of her classmates, even some of those who had once looked down on her. One day, during a class presentation, Lily spoke confidently about a topic she had researched thoroughly. The other students, who had once doubted her, now saw her in a different light. They admired her determination and her intelligence. It was during this moment that Lily realized how much she had grown. She had gone from a shy, unsure girl who felt out of place to a confident young woman who was beginning to see the fruits of her hard work. As the school year progressed, Lily's academic success began to open doors for her. She earned a reputation as one of the brightest students in her class, and soon, she was invited to participate in various academic competitions. Each competition she participated in was an opportunity to learn more and push herself further. She competed in debates, science fairs, and writing contests. Even though she wasn't always the winner, she learned valuable lessons from each experience. One of the most memorable moments for Lily came when she was invited to represent her school at a national science competition. The project she worked on was focused on sustainable farming, a topic close to her heart, as she had grown up in a farming community. She spent weeks researching, preparing her presentation, and practicing her speech. When the day of the competition arrived, she was nervous, but she was also excited to show the judges the work she had done. To her surprise, Lily won second place in the competition. It wasn't the top prize, but it was enough to show her that all her hard work had paid off. More importantly, it proved to her that she had the potential to achieve great things. This victory gave Lily the confidence to believe in herself even more. With her academic achievements and the scholarship she had earned, Lily was able to continue her education at a prestigious university. For the first time in her life, she was away from home, studying in a larger city, surrounded by people from all walks of life. At the university, she faced new challenges, but she felt ready for them. She knew that her education was the key to her future, and she was determined to make the most of it. As she settled into her new life, Lily continued to push herself academically. She took on internships, worked on projects, and built connections with professors and professionals in her field. Each experience added to her growing knowledge and skills. She wasn't just learning for herself anymore. She was learning so that she could one day help others, just like she had dreamed of since she was a young girl in the village. By the time Lily graduated from university, she had not only achieved her dream of getting an education, but she had also become a role model for others. She had proven that with hard work, dedication, and the power of education, anyone could overcome their circumstances and achieve greatness. Her journey was far from over, but Lily knew that education would always be the foundation of everything she built from that point forward. It had transformed her life, and she was determined to use what she had learned to help others do the same. Part 3. Facing Challenges. Lily had come a long way since her early days in the village. She had managed to escape the limits of poverty through education, and she had earned a place at a prestigious university. However, life was not going to get any easier. The journey ahead was filled with new challenges, and Lily had to face each one head-on if she was going to turn her dreams into reality. When Lily first arrived at university, she was filled with excitement. She was finally in the city, surrounded by people from all over the country, all of them driven by ambition and dreams of success. The campus was beautiful, with its tall buildings, well-maintained gardens, and bustling student life. It was everything she had imagined and more. But as time passed, Lily began to realize that being at university was not the end of her struggles. It was just the beginning. Despite all the hardships, Lily continued to excel in her studies. She didn't let the challenges stop her from chasing her dreams. She knew that the road ahead would be difficult, but she also knew that she had the resilience to overcome anything. Each challenge she faced taught her something new. She learned to be resourceful, to manage her time wisely, and to persevere through adversity. She realized that the more challenges she faced, the stronger she became. By the time Lily reached her final year of university, she had already proven to herself that she could handle anything life threw at her. She had overcome loneliness, financial struggles, and academic pressures, and she had done it all with determination and hard work. But there was still one more challenge that lay ahead, the challenge of stepping into the real world and making her dreams come true. Graduating from university was an emotional moment for Lily. She had worked so hard to get to this point, and now she was ready to take on the world. As she stood on the stage, receiving her diploma, she couldn't help but think back to all the challenges she had faced along the way. She remembered the long nights of studying, the part-time jobs, and the moments of doubt. But through it all, she had never given up. She had come so far, and now she was ready to take the next step, to turn her dreams into reality. Lily knew that the challenges wouldn't end here. The road to success was long and full of obstacles, but she was ready to face them. She had proven to herself that with hard work, determination, and a positive mindset, anything was possible. Part 4. Starting her own business. After graduating from university, Lily stood at a crossroads. She had worked tirelessly for years, juggling her studies, part-time jobs, and the pressures of life. Now, she was finally ready to take the next big step, creating her own future. She had spent countless hours learning, pushing herself, and facing challenges, and now it was time for her to decide what path to follow. Lily knew one thing for sure: she didn't want to work for someone else. Throughout her journey, she had seen how hard her parents worked, only to see their efforts go unnoticed and underappreciated. She wanted something different. She wanted to be in control of her own destiny. The idea of starting her own business had been growing in her mind for a long time, and now she was ready to make it a reality. The first obstacle Lily faced was the lack of money. Although she had earned a degree and had a good understanding of business, starting a company wasn't easy. She didn't come from a wealthy background, and there was no one to provide her with startup capital. But Lily was no stranger to challenges, and she wasn't about to let this stop her. She decided to start small, using her savings and a small loan from a local bank to fund her first project. She began her entrepreneurial journey by opening a small online store selling handmade products. The idea came to her when she remembered how her mother used to make beautiful crafts in their village. Lily realized that many people loved unique, handmade items, and she believed that she could bring her mother's talent to the online market. She started by selling handmade jewelry, scarves, and home decor items. At first, her business was small. She worked from her small apartment, designing products, taking photographs, and managing the website. Every day, she spent hours marketing her products online, reaching out to potential customers, and figuring out ways to grow her business. The beginning was tough. The first few months were slow, and Lily had to hustle every day just to make a sale. She didn't have the budget for expensive ads or marketing campaigns, so she relied on social media and word of mouth. She posted pictures of her products on Instagram, shared stories on Facebook, and even reached out to influencers who could help promote her items. Despite the lack of resources, Lily poured her heart into her work. She made sure that each product was of the highest quality, and she took the time to build personal relationships with her customers. Slowly but surely, her hard work began to pay off. More and more people started visiting her website, and sales slowly started to increase. However, Lily soon realized that running a business was much more complex than she had anticipated. There were so many things to manage: inventory, orders, customer service, shipping, and the financial side of things. She was constantly overwhelmed, trying to juggle everything on her own. She also realized that in order to grow, she would need to make some big changes. She could no longer do everything herself. That's when Lily made one of the most important decisions of her life. She decided to hire help. It wasn't easy. She didn't have the money to hire a large team, so she started small. She hired one person to help with customer service and another to assist with packaging and shipping. These first hires were a big leap for Lily, but they gave her the ability to focus on the bigger picture, growing her business. With the help of her new team, Lily's business began to grow faster. She was able to expand her product line, add new designs, and invest in more marketing. She also started working with local artisans to create even more unique and beautiful products. Word spread about her online store, and soon, she was getting orders from customers all over the country. However, just as Lily's business was beginning to flourish, she faced a new challenge: competition. More and more people were starting to sell similar products, and the market became saturated. Lily had to figure out how to stand out from the crowd. She knew that in order to succeed, she would need to offer something different, something that would set her business apart from others. So, she decided to focus on sustainability. She started using eco-friendly materials for her products, packaging them in recyclable boxes, and promoting her commitment to protecting the environment. This move paid off. More customers began to appreciate the eco-friendly aspect of her products, and her business grew even more. But success didn't come without its challenges. Lily had to deal with customers who returned items, suppliers who were late with deliveries, and the constant pressure to keep up with the growing demand. There were days when she felt exhausted, and doubts crept into her mind. Was this all worth it? Could she really make it? But then, she would remember why she started in the first place. She remembered the struggles of her childhood, the hard work of her parents, and the dreams she had as a little girl. She knew she couldn't give up now. She had worked too hard to get this far. Lily also learned to embrace failure. Not every decision she made was a success, and not every product she launched sold well. There were moments of failure, but Lily realized that each failure was a lesson. Every mistake was an opportunity to learn and grow. She began to view challenges as stepping stones, not obstacles, and that mindset helped her overcome the tough times. But perhaps the most meaningful way Lily gave back was through her mentorship program. She had experienced firsthand the struggles of starting a business with limited resources, and she wanted to help others avoid some of the challenges she had faced. She began offering free business coaching and mentorship to aspiring entrepreneurs, particularly women and young people. She would meet with them one-on-one, listen to their ideas, and offer advice on how to navigate the ups and downs of running a business. Lily's mentorship program quickly grew, and she was able to help hundreds of aspiring entrepreneurs launch their own businesses. She taught them how to write business plans, secure funding, and market their products. She also encouraged them to stay resilient in the face of adversity, just as she had done throughout her journey. Many of her mentees went on to build successful businesses of their own, and Lily felt immense pride in knowing that she had played a part in their success. As her impact continued to grow, Lily's story was shared in the media. Newspapers and magazines wrote about her journey from a poor village girl to a successful entrepreneur and philanthropist. She became a symbol of hope for those who felt like they didn't have the resources or opportunities to succeed. But despite the attention, Lily remained humble. She never saw herself as a hero. Instead, she saw herself as someone who had been fortunate enough to achieve her dreams and was now in a position to help others achieve theirs. In addition to her mentorship and business initiatives, Lily also started a charity that focused on providing food and medical care to those in need. She partnered with local hospitals and organizations to ensure that vulnerable communities received the support they needed. She was especially passionate about helping children, ensuring they had access to the health care and nutrition they needed to grow up healthy and strong. One of the most rewarding moments of Lily's journey came when she returned to her village, the place where it all began. She visited the school where she had once studied and spoke to the students about her journey. She shared her story, telling them how education had changed her life and how they, too, could achieve their dreams if they worked hard and never gave up. She told them that no matter where they came from, they could go as far as their dreams would take them. As Lily stood before the students, she was filled with gratitude. She had come full circle. The little girl who had once dreamed of a better life was now giving back to the next generation. She had not only built a successful business, but had also created a legacy of hope and empowerment for others. Lily's story was proof that no matter where you start in life, you can make a difference. With determination, hard work, and a desire to help others, you can overcome any obstacle and create a life of purpose and meaning. Lily's success was not measured by the money she made or the fame she gained, but by the impact she had on the lives of others. And as she continued to grow her business, expand her charitable efforts, and mentor the next generation of entrepreneurs, Lily knew that her journey was far from over. The road ahead was long, but she was ready to face whatever challenges came her way, knowing that she would always have the strength to overcome them and the desire to make the world a better place. And so, Lily's journey continues, a journey that proves that no matter where we start in life, we all have the power to create change, not only in our own lives, but in the lives of others as well. From a small village with few resources to becoming a successful entrepreneur and philanthropist, Lily's story is a powerful reminder that dreams can become reality with hard work, perseverance, and the courage to never give up. But her true success isn't measured by the wealth she's earned. It's measured by the lives she's touched, the opportunities she's created, and the legacy she's building for the next generation. Lily shows us that the real beauty of success lies not in what we accumulate for ourselves, but in what we give back to the world. She reminds us that when we rise, we must reach down and help others rise with us. So, what can we take from Lily's story? It's simple. No dream is too big, no obstacle too great. Whatever challenges you're facing today, remember, you have the power to overcome them. And like Lily, you have the ability to change the world around you. Thank you for joining us on this inspiring journey today. If you've been inspired by Lily's story, share it with someone who needs a little encouragement. And don't forget to subscribe to Postcard English Stories for more stories that inspire and empower. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep believing, and keep making a difference.